Charlie, take off those glasses. We're doing a TV commercial.
But Jerry, the future's so bright here at Bourbon RV, I gotta wear shades.
That's right. At Bourbon RV, we have more inventory, more parts, and even better service.
We make buying fun at Bourbon RV.
And if you have a problem, see the boss.
Hello, I'm James Bartle with the Sullivan Independent News, and we're here at the showroom of Jerry's TV, Appliance, and Furniture, one of the largest showrooms in the Tri-County area. We want to welcome you to 5 Questions With. Today in our program will feature Sullivan City Administrator J.T. Hardy. J.T., can you explain a little bit about your job as City Administrator and the things you're responsible for overseeing?
Sure, Jim. Thanks for having me. The City Administrator position is a job that has several different roles. The primary role, though, would be to work with the Mayor and the Board of Aldermen to compromise a budget for the City of Sullivan and then oversee the revenues and expenditures of that budget on a daily basis. That's a very large task to do because primarily our government does provide several services for the citizens, and the money that we oversee is very crucial that we make sure that we account for every penny. The other things that the city administrator would do would be to understand the goals, the policies and procedures as interpreted by the mayor and the board, and also the objectives that the mayor and the board would like for me as a city administrator to facilitate. The city administrator is a appointed position by the mayor and approved by the Board of Aldermen. The board and the mayor are elected individuals who serve on a part-time basis, so they're not at the City Hall on a day-to-day basis. So my job is to primarily interact with the public on a daily basis. If they have questions or concerns or things that they'd like to talk about, I'm the one that they can call, and if I can help them, then that's what I do. If there's something that's outside of city code or something that I can't take care of or I don't have the ability to do, then I would go to the Board of Aldermen and the Mayor and ask them to respond to that. Mm-hmm. I follow the personnel policy and the city codes. My job is to make sure that all the ordinances are enforced within the city limits of Sullivan. I oversee 5 primary departments: the Parks and Recreation, the Police Department, the Street Department, the Water and Sewer Department, the Electric Department. A couple other departments that we have that most people don't think about is the Sullivan Municipal Utilities, which is the billing for the utilities that we have in Sullivan. Also the Engineering Department, which includes the Code Administrator, the City Engineer, and also we have a mapping person. Then overseeing those with my department heads, making sure that we can take care of the needs of the citizens.
Needs of the city. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How is we know the economic times are tough on many cities all across the country, and for the citizens of Sullivan, how is the financial condition of the city at this point?
Well, I'm very happy that the Board of Aldermen, the council, back in 2008 really started to see that the economy would start to slow down with all the projections, and the board at that time made some serious cuts, took a lot of time to think about what they were going to do and how they were going to proceed forward. We took a conservative approach to revenue projection, and then also took and also even more, I could say, deeper cuts on the expenditures. So basically, we minimized what we thought were revenues coming in, and then we did not overgo on the expenditures back in 2008, and we carried that forward in 2009 and 10, and then so basically the city's in a sound financial position as far as its portfolio is concerned. Hopefully, as the revenues start to pick up, as the economy picks up, then we will be in a better position than we probably have been before. I will say that right now this year that our sales tax projections, since we did project low, are actually doing very well. They're right within line, if not a little bit higher. Mm-hmm. But I think the city overall, we're looking at some. We're slowing down on our construction throughout the city, which we were paying 20% for with the state of Missouri, with a lot of these roads and things. So whenever you build new roads, you put new water lines and sewer lines in, and some of the electric infrastructure, which also raises our expenses. So I think we're doing very well. And the opportunity that I've had to come in with a fresh set of eyes as a city administrator to find things that maybe we weren't doing, monies that we weren't using or taking advantage of. So I think we're doing very well.
Good, good. Let's talk about economic development and your role with the city. I know the council hired you in as city administrator, but also wanted to have you focus on economic development as well, and kind of explain to our viewers your role as working on economic development for the city.
Sure. In times past, the economic development mindset and which is a good mindset, would have been to attract new businesses to the community, manufacturing, jobs, and that's what we often think about when we think about economic development. We think about new jobs. This council, though, has realized in this economic downturn that we're in that we really primarily should focus on the businesses that we currently have in Sullivan and helping them maintain the jobs that they have, helping them maintain the business they have, but also help them grow. We are still interested, and I still receive calls and inquiries about new businesses and new jobs. And yes, I am working with manufacturers from outside of Sullivan about coming into Sullivan, or retail development coming into Sullivan. But one thing that we really want to help is the people that are currently here, because it's so easy to think about the people who aren't already here, and it's so easy to kind of take advantage of the situation that they're here and think that they may not leave. But we really need to give more credit to the ones that are here and the ones that are fighting with this hard economic times to stay in Sullivan. And I think that it's very important, and I'm so happy that the board feels this way, that whenever a local business is in need or has a concern, that we work with them. We try to help them. And when we go out and look for industry or businesses to come to Sullivan, we also have to take into consideration that we're not looking for ones that may hurt the ones that are currently here. In the future, in 2012, I believe that I can't specifically state some of the things that are going on, but I believe pretty soon you're probably going to see a couple new businesses in Sullivan, at least maybe a retail somewhere hopefully in the clothing line somewhere, and maybe you'll see a retail in another business that I think that's going to be very good. And then as far as manufacturing, we've had some calls and questions about the Sullivan Industrial Park East that we have, the 100 acres. We got on a list for a site survey. Somebody came out and actually looked at it. They were wanting to build a distribution center. It was going to be a 100,000 square foot facility. We didn't make the final cut, but it was a growing experience. We got to learn from what information we presented to them, and they gave us their critique of what they thought they wanted and what we didn't have. So it's a good thing, and I think that Sullivan, compared to other communities, I think that we're just right in line.
It kind of along with that, let's just say on a weekly or monthly basis, how many calls do you think you typically receive as far as economic development interest goes, or emails, contact from the State of Missouri Department of Economic Development, maybe a ballpark for our viewers?
Well, and like I said, I included in economic development the local businesses. But if I was to take the local businesses out of that, because the question probably is leaned towards new inquiries from outside, it's not that I get one or two a week, but generally I would say within a month it probably averages out to a couple a week. I mean, we work with RCGA out of St. Louis. They're the ones that we work with in Missouri Department of Economic Development for the most recent manufacturing or distribution warehouse that was interested in Sullivan. We work with MRPC, Merrimack Regional Planning Commission in St. James, and we get calls on our property that we have outside the east of Sullivan, the Sullivan Industrial Park East that we have. We get calls on that periodically. Currently working with someone on that who doesn't really want to use it for industrial development, but so the council is considering whether or not we should release our industrial property. But the other thing is I'm always looking for new places to develop too, things that we can help properties in Sullivan that we might be able to acquire to use that for economic development too.
It kind of along with what we've discussed somewhat already, do you see a lot of economic development possible in the city in 2012? We've got the discussion of Pea Ridge Mine reopening, that bringing employees to our area, and I know by the time this airs they will have made their presentation to the Sullivan City Council, but that's a pretty big impact in the local economy should that mine get up and running soon. So are you optimistic for 2012? Oh
yes, I mean, we know the economy's down, and it's been down for a while. So unless it goes further down, the only way it's going to go is up. And I believe that with Pea Ridge Mine, it's Pea Ridge Resources, I believe is the name of it. I was excited whenever I saw the presentation that they presented to Crystal City. And so I thought it would be very valuable to get them to come here and give the presentation of the 350 jobs. And they inquired if I knew of any local contractors that would be able to do some site work for them out there. So even though they're not in our city limits, even though they're not even in the same county we're in, we all know that Pea Ridge of the past definitely influenced the economic development in Sullivan. And I'm very hopeful that it'll do the same in the future. The 350 jobs, they may not live in Sullivan, but hopefully they'll shop here, they'll come here, and I believe that once you have more people with more jobs and money coming in and shopping in Sullivan, it'll just have a trickle-down effect throughout the economy. The 2012 outlook, if the economy stays stagnant or goes down, but Pea Ridge opens back up, then we will have an advantage over the other communities that they do not have, because we will have something pushing growth here. Pea Ridge Resources still will not be the largest employer in our area. Missouri Baptist Hospital, Aerofel Technologies. We're blessed to have several large employers of different types. So, I mean, if one industry went down, we still have other industries that are large employers in our community. So I think we have a nice mix and a good balance. And I think the other thing is that when we see construction in Sullivan, I mean, I have people from outside of Sullivan saying, "Oh, you're growing, you're building things." I think that's good. I mean, regardless if Pea Ridge is going to take a few years to get up and running, having them come here, give us a presentation, having the optimism and the hope of the future will help our community come together and know that it's not just a downward spiral. So.
Well, I'd like to thank Sullivan City Administrator J.T. Hardy.
Thanks, Jim.
For joining us on 5 Questions With. We'd also like to thank Jerry's TV Furniture and Appliance and their giant showroom for allowing us to shoot 5 Questions With. And until next week, thank you for joining us.